And they also seem to be boycotting Canada to a certain extent, putting us in the penalty box. Let's bring in David McLaughlin. He's a former chief of staff to Brian Mulroney here. Good to see you, David. Happy Wednesday.
Hi, Todd. Good to see you.
All right, let's talk first off about the trip to the United Arab Emirates for Mark Carney. What you're watching for?
Well, I'm watching to see what kind of tangible investment deals or trade deals come out of it. It's a perfect destination for the Prime Minister and for Canada at this time of economic turmoil with the United States. The United Arab Emirates is ranked globally as the world's most stable economy, so it should be a good place for us to do investment with. It's ranked third in the world for having sovereign wealth and pension assets. With about $2.5 trillion US dollars in sovereign wealth available to invest. So it's a great spot to go. And as the old saying goes from that famous U.S. Bank robber Willie Sutton, known as Sutton's Law. Why did he rob banks? Well, he robbed banks because that's where the money is. Well, Carney's going to the UAE because that's where the money is.
Right, and so it's part of this larger strategy of the Prime Minister to go to other countries in person, meet with other leaders in person, try to drum up business, show Canada is open for business, David, I gather, and again, trying to pivot away from the United States and our perhaps arguably overdependence on them.
Absolutely. This is exactly what the strategy is about. If you look at the Prime Minister's official statement announcing the trip, he talks about moving from reliance to resilience. So instead of just reliance on the United States market, which Canada has done for so many years historically, it's moving to a more resilient economic position by getting new investment and trade deals around the world. So this takes a lot of work. These things don't materialize overnight, Todd, but it has been the strategy of what the new Carney government has been doing. And he's been traveling a lot, sort of putting that personal face on it, trying to use his position as prime minister to open doors, meet with entrepreneurs, investors, capitalists around the world. And Carney, as a former international financier himself, certainly knows how to open those doors. So that's exactly what he's up to.
The other question I've got for you relates to human rights, David. And I mean, you were the former chief of staff to Brian Mulroney. You remember what Mulroney did when it came to apartheid in South Africa and whatnot. So let me ask you, there's a more and more focus about the role that the United Arab Emirates is playing in helping to fuel a huge civil war going on in Sudan, which is considered to be the worst humanitarian crisis on the planet right now. This is obviously quite awkward, but nevertheless, do you think it's going to come up? Will Carney raise it or not?
I'm sure he will raise it. It's a question of whether he will raise it publicly or privately. I would expect him to do it privately. I mean, this is really a business trip more than anything. The G20 summit taking place in South Africa afterwards is a chance to talk about these broader global human rights and conflict issues. I'm sure he will note it as he should, but I think he brings a certain pragmatism to Canadian foreign policy. I mean, the big switch that we have from Justin Trudeau to Mark Carney is moving from sort of this moralizing to this pragmatism. Brian Mulroney always kept human rights as part of his foreign policy approach, but he very much knew that you don't embarrass leaders out in public. You try to make them appreciate and move things along behind the scenes. So perhaps Mr. Carney will do that, but no question, Todd, what you're saying, the Sudan conflict and the human rights abuses and the atrocities that are happening there, you can't go unsaid, but it's a question of how you say it and where you say it.
David McLaughlin, former chief of staff to Prime Minister Brian Mulroney, joining us today from Ottawa with his take on the story. Hey, David, great to see you. Thank you as always.
You too, Todd. Cheers.